Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Christensen. Man, I can't think of a quote. One second.
Don't steal mine, your boy.
Don't steal yours. I would just say, is this the end of Uncle Rico? It's not from this movie, but I can't think of anything except Uncle Rico is in this movie from Napoleon Dynamite. Okay, so my quote is, I'd like to finish my meal. All right, and we've got Cameron Mickle on the podcast.
Oh my gosh, is he Uncle Rico? Oh
yeah, dude.
My mind is blown. I knew that.
Yeah, dude, the photographer, yep. The guy who owns the loan shark he owes money to. That's Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite, dude. Anyway, Cameron, do you have a quote from this movie?
Someday, I will be a mountain. But for now, I am a fault.
Oh, so deep. I'm a fault. We've got Jordan Christensen on the pod.
I can't remember the first thing he says. Does he say, I hope you die, and I hope I broke one of your ribs?
Yes. And we've got Bryce Laidler. I don't know why I rolled the tongue, but just
I don't know either. But I'm going to say, don't kill me until you've been able to hear me out.
Yes, I was thinking about that expression. I swear I've heard that before.
No, I love it. I got to say, so we're going to talk about this movie, Faults. This movie came out in 2014. It was directed by Riley Stearns, which we also reviewed on the podcast, his other work, The Art of Self-Defense.
I want to reach out,
this
Ty,
new movie. We got to check it out.
Yank out your tongue. I'm going to scoot back a little bit.
I'm gonna scoop back.
What are you thinking about right now? How much I'd love to throttle you and rip out your tongue and strangle you. I could do it so easily at arm's length. Thank you. Fair enough. I'm going to sit back now. I love it. So we're going to get into this movie. It was directed by Riley Stearns. It stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead. This movie made me think, of course, being kidnapped. Like, Mary Elizabeth Winstead is going to be typecast as the character that gets abducted. I was thinking of
10 Cloverfield Lane.
10 Cloverfield Lane. Yeah, that was crazy. It stars Chris Ellis and
You mean the
Leland
one that she's
Orser.
more prominently known for, Sky High?
And Ty...
Sky High.
And
I mean, it was some old.
How
lady.
about when she gets kidnapped in Live Free or Die Hard as well?
Oh, that's right. See, I knew there was a third movie and I couldn't think of it. So I'm like, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
she's
Bruce Willis'
typecast
daughter.
as someone that needs
she's
saving.
The daughter,
She's
and
the
that's
female.
when he shoots himself.
Lucy
in the
She's
sword.
the
McLean?
female Matt Damon. Yeah, she's the female Matt Damon, in Martian, Saving Private Ryan. Matt Damon's always needing of saving. And what was
Interstellar.
the other movie with Matt Damon? And Interstellar. Yes, he needs saving. Yeah, so she's the female Matt Damon, always needs saving. I think that's funny. Or maybe Matt Damon is the male version of Mary Elizabeth
Yeah,
Winstead.
Ty. Sicko.
Challenging masculinity. I'm back. I'm here to talk about No, I'm kidding. So let's get into this movie, Faults. Let's say, what was it like watching it for the first time and then rewatching it for the podcast? Let's start with you, Cameron.
So watching it for the podcast was my first viewing.
As are a lot of movies on this podcast. We subject Cameron to a lot of movies that
Yeah.
he doesn't seek out on his own.
This was
Did
definitely.
it make your top 100, Cameron?
It didn't make my top 100, but it was 9 out of 10. It was very solid. This and Art of Self-Defense were both ones that I had on my watch list by myself, and then I'd been wanting to watch for a while. And then Jordan said, "Oh, we'll do that on the pod. You can take it off." So I was really excited to watch both of these, especially directed by the same director. And yeah, this film did not disappoint because I watched Art of Self-Defense first, really enjoyed it. And it was just like, it led up to this one. And I really enjoyed watching this one on the first viewing. It was like a lot of things that I don't know how rewatchable it is, but
I was worried you would like Art of Self-Defense more, Cameron.
no, I originally, if I would say 3/4 through this movie, I liked Art of Self-Defense better. But then the way it finished, I was like, oh my fudge, dude, this movie's insane.
For sure. It does finish, man. Holy crap. And Jordan, how about you? What was it like watching it for the first time and rewatching it for the pod?
Yeah, so I came across this after seeing Art of Self-Defense. I'm like, I wonder what else this guy has done, and then found this, and I'm like, I saw the trailer, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of a similar vein, a similar universe. It's just this darker toned kind of. It's got that
strange way of talking.
Yeah,
to
strange
people.
way of talking, and kind of that era too, the 80s or whatever time it is, and also the feeling of like that comedic timing is, so great. There's so many fun little moments that make me laugh really hard. But yeah, watching it, loved it, and then rewatching it, yeah, I was surprised how much I actually enjoyed rewatching this, because I was worried knowing the twist and the ending, like, would I still like it as much? And I actually liked it more because I figured out what essentially they were planning to get him there. Sorry. So, because he was already broken and stuff. And it was cool to see how she was actually manipulating him. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Just another reason not to trust anyone you meet, especially nice people, dude. I'm telling you, nice people are always serial killers or part of cults. Never trust
Or don't trust anyone you kidnap, right? Yeah, that's the,
Or
that's
don't
the
trust
moral of
just
the story.
anybody. That's my motto.
Cameron has no friends.
And no cult members.
Right. So what was it like watching it for the first time, rewatching it for the pod?
Well, I just want to say, Cameron, I'll be your friend and or cult member. Just let me know where to sign up. And no, so like Cameron, this was my first
buy my
time
book.
seeing it. Is it $15? $5 for you to sign it?
Please, yeah.
I can sign it for $5. You fucking kidding me?
Oh my gosh, dude. How much?
I'm
15,
noticing some people
10.
that don't have my book.
He doesn't sign the other one, you know. He's like, I don't sign that one.
Don't sign that one.
Can you sign this one? No, I don't sign that one.
Outside that one.
So
great.
yeah, no, this was the first time I'd seen it. I had no idea. I'd never even heard of it before, and I couldn't watch the trailer. I watch everything on Vudu, and so I was just gonna buy it, and it was actually like free with ads. So I mean, I had to deal with some commercials, but I really, I was like, I would go back and buy this. You know, I really enjoyed it a whole lot better than the Art of Self-Defense.
Oh,
and I watched
interesting.
this one. I watched this one first, and again, I had no trailer, I had nothing. I had no idea what I was walking into. I had no idea who was in it. Nothing. I just kind of walked in with an open mind, and I really, really enjoyed it. So. A lot of cool lines. I love Mary Elizabeth Winstead. My wife hates her. She absolutely hates her just because.
Is that right?
Well, because of the whole thing with her and Obi-Wan Kenobi. You know, what's his name? Ewan McGregor. Yeah, how he left his wife for her. And so
Are they a couple?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. She's with Obi-Wan right now. So you know the force is strong with that one. So like, but I've kind of always had a crush on her since even back when dang it, you just mentioned it,
Scott
Jordan.
Pilgrim vs. the World?
Yeah, Scott
Scott
Pilgrim.
Pilgrim.
Ever since then, so
Pixie Manic Dream Girl, right?
yeah. So I really enjoyed this one. I'm really excited to talk about it because I dug it.
No, great. Love to hear that. So I remember watching this for the first time. Jordan and I had found Art of Self-Defense. I remember putting it on a list. I saw the trailer for Art of Self-Defense. I was like, Jordan, let's keep an eye out for this. And Jordan's much better at following up with directors because when we see a movie that we really like, it's usually like their work is really good. Usually it's not always a one-hit wonder, and sometimes they are, which is unfortunate. But,
Richard Kelly.
But this is one where... Wait, Richard Kelly. Dude, you have to remind me who that
Donnie
is. Is that the
Darko.
one that did Donnie? Yeah, okay. Well, it's so funny that you mentioned Donnie Darko because what's her face? The cult member?
Oh, yeah.
That's her, dude.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
the teacher, Cameron.
I know.
Which I thought
That
you
was
would
the first thing
recognize.
I noticed. I was like, hey, she told me to shut And then she's like, don't say that
Beth,
word.
yeah, Beth Grant,
When he says,
Evelyn.
oh, yeah, I heard he had a...
Mary-
Don't say that word.
Everything can be categorized in two things, Cameron: love and fear. All right.
You can't just simplify it into that. I think you're the Antichrist.
How can you just mentioned Richard Kelly? Have you not seen Southland Tales? I'm just saying.
Oh, actually, that is
We-
one on my bucket
we-
list I've had forever. I want to watch. Is it
Yeah,
good?
Bryce, none of us here have watched it, and you were the one that told us that we should do it. That's the one we're going to bring you back on for the podcast when we do it, okay?
Dude, it's so. I mean, it's such a unique. I think you guys
Yes.
would love it. Just as,
So, Jordan, it is the most
I
polarizing
do love
movie
the
of all
guy.
time.
I
Yes.
do love the guy from American Pie. Like I've actually seen some of his other movies, like Goon, and I love him. I think he's fun. But
Yeah.
I mean,
It'll be
him,
interesting.
The Rock,
yeah.
It's
Justin
it's got the line-
Timberlake. I mean,
what's
it's got-
the line you quoted to me, Bryce? What's the line you're still laughing about it? You
'cause I'm
quoted
a-
today.
'cause I'm a
It's going to be in
pimp.
your obituary, right?
It,
Yeah.
It's because I'm a pimp, and pimps don't commit suicide.
It's an actual line in the movie, and it's like a key line in the movie that they say over and over. So anyway, we might have to do that. one on
okay,
the
yeah,
pod,
I've had it on my radar. So
love it.
if you say it's good, I just watched the Zero Theorem though, and I'm like, oh boy, like.
Well, look, I've made all of my friends watch it, and I'm the only one that likes it. So I mean, it's one of those ones where like
humor me. Yeah,
I'm
as
used
a
to
friend,
like
watch
I'm
it.
used to like halfway through, everyone looking at me like, dude, can we like go watch something else or like.
Well, it's starting to get its own little cult following because I've checked and they added it to Arrow Video, which it's like they take all these cult films, and I'm interested. So
It's like a cult classic now.
Yeah.
Huh? So
Jordan's doing the Leonardo DiCaprio and Django Unchained. First, you have my attention. Now I'm interested.
yeah, no, I just needed one person to say they liked it, and you have helped. I own it. I just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, right. So I gotta say, watching Faults, I definitely enjoyed it more on rewatch because I'm trying to look for the hints that they drop because it's not out of left field. Like I was completely caught off guard the first time I watched it. But what I really liked about this rewatch, I'm like, oh, like there were so many hints they drop early on, and I wrote some of them down. So I love rewatching movies that are really gripping because not only is the twist significant, this movie follows a really, really great performance from Leland Orser. I think he did an amazing job. I think this is my favorite performance from him. And I've seen him in a few other things.
I liked him in The Guest. I thought he was a good dad.
Yes, he was fine in The Guest. But again, like it just didn't get a shine like this movie where...
The Guest was a good one.
I have mixed feelings
Yeah,
about that
I love
movie.
The Guest.
Dan Stevens, dude. I just remember him in like...
I really,
go ahead.
I really enjoyed this movie, but I saw the twist coming a mile away. Like I mean, like I knew it. There were too many things that I caught on right away, but I still really enjoyed it because I was like, I bet this is going to happen. I want to see it unfold, and it did.
Wow.
Yeah, but see, ultimately, this is a great movie. So on rewatch, I just love that. That it's so good. Antagonist and protagonist are so at odds with one another. His job is to like deprogram people from cults, and he's literally being worked on because he's a broken man after his failed botched job with the poor lady that ends up taking her own life.
Jennifer.
Jennifer. Yep, exactly.
Jennifer. The Great White Buffalo.
Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
Oh yeah. Who are you?
Who are you? Oh my gosh, who are you? So I really like to rewatch because I think Leland Orser does an amazing job. This is a really
It kind of reminds me like of Green Ruin and Blue Ruin. Green Ruin and Blue Ruin, where I like Blue Ruin better. I like Faults better than Art of Self-Defense. Even though I always watch Art of Self-Defense with more people because I feel like it's more like, I don't know, for a wider audience. This one, I just like, it has more of an indie feel to it. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, like this almost could exist as a playwright, right? It's a very indie film, small cast, few locations.
Very tight.
Yeah, it's very tight. But it's so good. It's the story that drives through it. So I love it. So loved rewatching it. So loved it even more. Real quick, I'm going to give a plot recap and then we're going to get into two of our favorite things. The plot recap, it says...
A cult deprogrammer must help a couple whose daughter has recently joined a cult.
Perfectly well said, Well said, Cameron, well said. Took it right from IMDb, so don't catch us for plagiarism. We take all of our summaries. We don't write them ourselves, folks. We take them off IMDb. Excuse me. So let's get into two of our favorite things. Bryce, why don't you start us off? Two of your favorite things from this movie.
I thought the acting was great. I think, overall you've already alluded to it, but I thought, Mary Elizabeth did great. I thought, Leland dude did great. I thought her creepy parents, so
creepy.
Just, I'm looking
Seemed
at
normal at first. Yeah.
the whole scene with them dressing her and, and then
Tell her she's pretty.
Rainbow.
Tell
Tell her she's pretty. Like that whole, I
don't wear outfits like this anymore.
Yeah.
I thought that was instant sign of abuse, but...
Yeah, no, I was thinking
I was worried about that too.
I was thinking like this dad's controlling this, you know what I mean? Like they definitely alluded to all of that. So I mean, I thought even to the quote unquote actor that gets the screwdriver in the end, that is trying to get him to pay up and all that, and it's kind of cool because throughout he says even like he's my boss and he's the one that pays me, and so like you assume he pays him as a security guard or as his as his collector, but he's paying him as an actor, which was a nice little twist there. But yeah, so I thought the acting was superb all the way through. And then, the second thing I loved about the movie was, like you actually, I mean, I guess this maybe goes to the acting too, but the way that you really actually feel for him, like from the start with the, him trying to reuse the voucher again, and then
the meal voucher from the hotel.
Yeah, the meal voucher, and then his sign. He's worried about the sign.
I
and
saw
then,
you take it out of the trash, but I didn't want to say it to your face.
Yeah, I mean, like just.
But
things
now you're
like
being rude,
that.
so I'll say it to your face.
You just totally like feel for this guy, even though you're trying to discover like really what makes him tick, and I just thought that was brilliant. So that's my 2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Love that, Bryce. Just a man at his all-time low. They do a very good job at establishing that very quickly. I mean, where he's physically beaten from one of his attendees and people getting up out of his presentation, like in the middle of it. It's just so sad. And even his like poster board, it's just on the floor. Just no one has respect or time of day for this guy. I love it.
Side note too, I did think it was interesting that both Fault and the Art of Self-Defense started with the main character eating in a diner. I don't know if you guys caught that too, but I thought it was pretty interesting.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if this third movie, if he's going to start like he has this thing where they all the movies open with the character eating at a diner.
That's right. Yeah, he's got certain motifs, and like I pointed out, both of these movies are very much about cults. Like this one literally is about a girl that joined a cult and he ends up succumbing to Faults, which is the cult name. And then the other movie with the dojo, it literally is a cult. Like all the people in this dojo, sure, they're doing karate and that's like the front, but it's like the whole
I don't know, but I don't see them
underground
as loyal followers. They're just kind of obeying because they're blackmailed.
It's more of a gang.
That's fair. Not as much brainwashed, but I would argue that one guy that was the blue belt, he was brainwashed. He believed in that dojo. He wasn't blackmailed.
I think these movies.
He wasn't part of the night class yet.
I think they're
he was
all
a day class student.
I think they're about control, not so much cults, but just about different types of control that one person can have over somebody else.
For sure, that's totally fair. It's totally valid. I still think that blue belt though was like obsessed with becoming. Hey, you attend the night class behind my back? I thought we were friends. Like he believed in it. That's what I'm getting at. And then he showed his true colors. The control came out as his arm bent the other way.
Ty, karate was the cult, and then just his side hustle was kind of just like a benefactor of like everyone believing in the karate. So you are partially right. I feel like.
Yeah, but definitely very apt, Bryce, about control. I love that because, this movie, who takes control, right? Because, again, he's the one that's doing the interrogation. He's doing the deprogramming, but you're like, is this really even working? Because it's very clear halfway through that it's not working. And, in fact, he's being programmed to now follow Faults and Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character. So I love that. Or Winstead. I think I'm saying that wrong. Jordan, 2 of your favorite things.
The overall tone of this movie, like, from them... like out of desperation, he decides to take this gig because, the first one obviously went horribly wrong and he didn't want to go through it again, but he's he literally has nothing. And so it's like his character, not only is it just it's so well written, but also his performance, just enhanced it. So I thought it both those kind of went hand in hand. And then kind of all the things that brought about him finally taking on this case was so good. And the fact that it was all planned, I don't know how you saw that, Bryce, but I didn't see it. I didn't see the little
Bryce has seen one too many films.
What I saw was the twist with her. I didn't see the parents. That threw me off.
Okay, yeah.
But I saw. I figured she. I mean, right from the start, I was like, she's the leader of this thing. Like,
really,
I don't know
that's cool.
That's awesome.
I mean, and let me say the one thing that tipped me off to it was
I didn't even get it. I'm just realizing that right now that she was a leader. What the fudge?
Well, Cameron, you didn't catch at the very end when they call her Ira? They literally call her Ira, dude, at the very end, the parents.
Yeah.
Like, Ira.
And those weren't her parents, right, Cameron? Because she was kissing them?
Using them and then having them Kool-Aid themselves or whatever, cyanide pill themselves to go sleep to Valhalla.
Anything whenever you deal with like those cult leaders or Koresh and Waco and all that, it's always the ones that say they saw Jesus or God told them directly, and even the parents told them from the start she saw. Said that she saw Jesus and he came to her like right away. Like they don't come to random cult members. They only go to one, in all of these, cults. Like
she told
the
that
leader
she found
is
God.
the one. So that I was like, okay, so she's definitely the one heading this, but I didn't see again the parent part, but.
Good call with the dialogue. So yeah, again, that's usually the person that takes over. But it is interesting that you mention her own words. She's that is what the leader would say, right? Like, I have seen God, and now I'm the. Dude, it reminds me of Jeremiah from Mandy, dude. Know Cameron loves when I bring up Mandy, but.
At least once in every podcast. I'm okay with it. You can relate everything to Mandy.
No, you can't.
Cameron has this love-hate relationship with Nicolas Cage, so we love to tease him about it.
There's no love in it.
I don't know.
It's all
He's all you ever talk about when we talk about his movies, though, Cameron. So.
Yeah, you always say he's the best part of every movie we watch.
Because they're trash movies, and he's the only good part of it. Gosh. You're in love with him. You love him, Cameron. You guys are like cult members. Guys like, you love Nicolas Cage.
The other part I love about this film is that they let you see a deprogramming process. Like, I thought it was so fascinating, like him kidnapping her and kind of like, that's just stuff I don't know. Maybe I don't watch enough documentaries about cults, but I thought that was such a fun thing to see. And then, just the parts.
That was a frantic and wild kidnapping, by the way.
Yeah, that was great. And then did you catch, I didn't catch the detail when she's like, that the person that hit me, did you take care of him? I was like, oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I missed that the first time.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep, they're taken care of. Yep. They go. Those two followers, her parents, quote unquote, they're pretty loyal people. Holy crap, it's great. You go ahead, Cameron.
So my favorite thing of the film easily is because Jordan and Ty know this. I pride myself on being I feel like pretty perceptive viewer, and I usually can call stuff out before it happens. And I love movies that can like surprise me, because I usually am always like, okay, yeah, I see it coming and stuff like that. But this one definitely had me just, because I kind of my guess was that I thought that she was that she was trying to set him up. I thought that they came to him to try to screw him over. I thought that she was like a part of like trying to set him up and be like, oh, see, look at this doesn't work and stuff like that, just to be like one last failure. But I did not expect it to be them freaking part of a cult and the parents in on it as well. I was like, what the fudge is happening? And then finding out that she was the leader.
In real time on the podcast.
Yeah, like mind blowing. Just that was awesome. And my second thing is kind of just a part of that is just how immersive it is. There was a lot of parts that remind me about some of my favorite movies. Like the scrappiness of the main character reminded me a lot of Nightcrawler, of kind of just like doing anything and doing the things like taking advantage of certain things where it's like there is no rule to that, but it's just like the unspoken rule, or like even sometimes there are rules to that. It's like taking hotel stuff. It's like that's very easy to do, but it's just like, what type of person does that? Like stealing the hangers from hotels? Like, what are you, animal? And so, there just the brutality of it as well. Like when he would beat him, just reminded me a lot of No Country for Old Men, and I was just like, oof. And then the kiss with the bloody nose just reminded me of It Comes at Night, when she's like making out with the dude and then like blood starts coming out of her mouth. I was like, what the fudge? And just the final thing, honestly, was just the scenes where it's like you're questioning what you're viewing. Reminded me a lot of Shutter Island, and this movie reminded me a lot of Shutter Island, where I'm just questioning as a viewer. And that's, I love this movie focuses so much on perspective, because you see it from his perspective and you're like, what am I seeing? And like, because the movie would be a completely different movie given from a different point of view.
Excellent. Brilliant. Yeah. I love so for me, my two favorite things is, one, I think this is one of my favorite character introductions I've seen in a long time in film. I started at the diner. It seems like a very simple situation, and yet like, oh, are you enjoying your meal? Yes, I'm enjoying my meal.
Dude,
here's this voucher.
Shove the ketchup on
it's given for me.
Eat.
So okay, I'll be right away, sir. And he goes back, and then he comes back, and he's like, got the hotel or the restaurant manager, and he's like, yes, sir. This is a meal voucher, but you've already used this one, so we need to. But he didn't even say that. He was trying to be nice. He's like, you get one meal voucher. He's like, I was told that I get one free meal a day. And he like gets very confrontational, very quick. And then like afterwards, he's like, I'd like to finish my meal. And then like there's no food on his plate. He grabs the ketchup bottle, starts dumping ketchup, and he starts eating the ketchup. And then he grabs the salt and pepper. He's just like, it is so sad. And like, no, you need to leave. And then like throw him out of the restaurant. And he's like, I saw you pick up the voucher out of the trash. I didn't want to embarrass you. Then this happened. Like, Like, what a great character introduction.
Yes.
And then, again, his sign is on the floor. It just leads one thing to the next. And then he has this presentation. It fails. This guy
Yeah,
is
the
yelling
guy in
at
the
him.
crowd.
Who are you? You're a murderer. I was captivated at
Yes.
this point the first time I saw it. So my favorite thing is this movie sucks you in so well. Like, it flows so easily. And you're so interested and you care so much about him. Like, you're like, how desperate is a guy to get a free meal, like, out of a restaurant cafe or like at a cafe outside of
The
motel?
only reason
like,
he
it's
even
not.
listened to the pitch was because she's like, "Can we buy you breakfast?" And he was like, "Yeah."
Yes. What's so great? There's a line of dialogue where when they come to him after the presentation, they ask him, and he's like, "I just need to get some sleep in my room." And he starts to remember that he only has that last night,
Yeah.
and now he doesn't have a place to sleep, so he sleeps in his car. It's so depressing.
No, I
It's
love
so
it. I love it
bleak.
too when they hand him the check and he just like awkwardly slides it over to them. It's like, thanks.
After they finish eating, yeah, thank you. Slides it at them. Yeah, slides the check toward them. That's great.
He was enjoying that bacon too. Just a little things like that. He's holding the bacon up, and you can tell he's savoring every single bite he's taking of that bacon.
It's like a
Don't know the
homeless
last
man.
time he's eaten. Yeah, exactly. I mean, so desperate, right? I mean, it's crazy. So, loved that. And then I also love the characters. That does feel like almost a Coen brother film where every character I mentioned, Uncle Rico, is this very funny. It's John.
Well, he's taking
Grice,
pictures
or Grice
again,
character.
just like he was in Napoleon
He
Dynamite.
was exactly, which was really funny. But he's like taking pictures. He's like, "Oh yeah, very good." And he's kind of like a sweet, soft-spoken guy. But what's really interesting is you almost think of him as more innocent than he is. But what I thought was really interesting is Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character. Let's start calling her Claire, which is her character movie name. She said he took advantage of you, which I thought was interesting. Whether or not it was true or not, like, he did owe a lot of money and he was being threatened. So it was a very hostile to make this book deal. He printed this other book, but everything that they needed was in the first book and he lost it to his ex-wife. So I thought that was a great reveal because earlier
but Ty,
on,
at least he
he's
got
like,
the
"I don't
house."
sign that book." Yeah, but at least he got the house. But in the end, it was the moneymaker, right? The book, which is how to deprogram people. And I thought that was such a great reveal because you're like, why is he so hostile toward his previous book? That's a mystery that's later then revealed why, he's bitter toward it because he's like, you don't need another book. It turns out like you already had everything you needed in the first one. So I liked that reveal. I thought that was great. Good callbacks. So just love this movie for that, and just great character arcs overall. So, and again, I just love. Oh yeah, go ahead.
If you have an ex-wife, which I do, that got half of your stuff, which I did, you start to be. I could relate to him completely, like angry at the fact that she got that book. And
man.
it's I love everything you guys have said. Like I agree 100%.
Brilliant. So yeah, so let's any nitpicks you guys wanted to throw out or some again, it's just very funny the way that people talk in this movie to each other. It's almost I mentioned this in Art of Self-Defense. The director has like this very unique style where everyone's very confrontational, very
It's like
direct,
Fargo.
almost childlike. Yeah, like reverse shot, like someone's very angry with you, like almost comically so, right? Like everyone's very confrontational, ready to fight, kicks him in the stomach. I hope you die, and I hope I broke one of your ribs or something.
Well, it works too, especially in this film with everything being so awkward that it actually
Yes.
with the parents and them being awkward, you're like not really sure if there's a reason they're awkward or if that's just the movie because everybody's awkward,
Yes,
And I think
that-
it really
yep.
that like I said with me, the parents was the twist I didn't get. And so, like when it happened, that was really cool because again, I was just thinking they were awkward because that's how the characters were in this movie. And then you see
Right.
there's way more to it. Did any of you guys, I'm just curious, did any of you really think he unlocked the door the first time you saw it?
See, I love that. So again, the first time I watched it, I was like, this is the perfect moment. But I got the sense once at the end, I thought back and I'm like, oh, they staged the whole thing because when she goes back to the hotel room and opens the other door, they're still there. I was like, they opened the door for him when he was sitting there in the bathroom. And that's when it clicked for me. But even on rewatch, I forgot it again. I'm like, oh, because I was like, she's going to use this moment to teach him.
Dude,
and
I'm just
believe
realizing
it.
that right now.
Yeah, it's like you want to believe that.
Like
You
there's
wanna
some
believe it.
paranormal
You wanna
ish
believe
going
that.
on.
Yeah, like he got out of his body and unlocked the door, and then you're like, oh wait, they
Walked
just
through it.
they literally just unlocked it from that side, and he was so in his thing, you know, like
Yeah.
she didn't get out of the bathroom, they let her out, and she went and laid down out front. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. She staged the whole thing when he was away. You know, the parents were all like, "Oh, I don't know how she got out of the room. I don't know what happened." It's like they staged that whole thing, but then they allowed him to go through the same thing where she gave him this moment to
and
you know,
it's so neat
become
how
more to
the questions he's asking her at the beginning, you know, kind of become the same type of questions she's asking him at the end to almost reprogram him or to program him, you know. And I loved that like kind of reflectiveness
circle.
or what. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, it's almost like turned on its head where the same questions that led
The
someone
hunter becomes
out
the
of a cult
hunted.
were the same ones to lead someone into it, right? Yeah. Which is actually interesting that you mentioned, I once heard in a lecture in the church, it said a lot of reasons why people leave the church are also a lot of reasons why people join the church, right? Like, just speaking of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I thought that was really interesting because, again, like with cult membership, it's like, what's so good about this is it's very isolating. I feel so bad for our protagonist. It just has dirt kicked in his eyes. He's just is so down on his luck. It's like, I just want him to, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead, it seems really friendly at the end. I mean, she's terrifying. You know, very manipulative.
You can't feel too bad for him. He gets.
Well, we're assuming, right? Unless she has other plans for him, right?
If she like, he's
This is a
definitely,
step up.
he's definitely.
Oh my gosh, dude, I love it. You know what's so funny? A nitpick. I saw Lance Reddick, who's Mick. He shows up in the parking lot and he's like, "My employer sent me." I was like, "Oh shoot, John Wick is his employer." I just typecast him as the hotel guy at
that's
John
what I think
Wick
of him
movie
every
trilogy.
time as well.
I know. It's hard to think of him as anything else. So I love that he was an actor again.
Do you know
so
who I
Terry.
am? He's like,
So
you're
good.
the dark fellow. He's like, excuse me, dark fellow? And he's like, I
Dark
meant
fellow.
you had this
Mysterious forebodings. Yeah, in the parking
Yeah.
lot. The dark fellow. That was great. I love
He's like,
that.
weren't you in Black Panther? Yeah.
Oh man, love
Is
it.
that Michael Jordan?
It's Bryce, a confession from our brother. We had him on, and he always thought that Shaquille O'Neal was Michael Jordan.
Well,
I guess he just thinks that all
in the movie Good Burger, he's
Shaq
like,
makes
"Is
a
that Michael
cameo.
Jordan?"
And Grant's like, I don't know why they're yelling Shaq. He didn't know what it meant because he thought it was Michael Jordan.
That's so.
Oh,
I mean, like,
gosh.
I don't know. I
comes from
mean,
That comes from being freaking like our dad made us part of the Michael Jordan cult, making us watch all of his highlight videos every week. So Grant was like, I believed every basketball player ever was Michael Jordan.
after what a great job Shaq did in Space Jam, I think, you know, you can't confuse the two. I'm just kidding. I know Michael Jordan was in Space Jam.
I thought you were confusing
LeBron.
LeBron. I forget there is another Space. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, oh.
I haven't seen that dumpster fire. That's for sure.
Oh, no way. No desire to see it, dude. Yeah. And free the Muslim Uyghurs, you know? Oh, sorry, I just had to get that out there. Screw you, China. You understand if you understand MBA. Anyway, so Ansel Roth, great performance. Love this. I love that. I am one of the world's most foremost authorities on mind control and cult organizations. What a great character. I love that profession. It's such a unique niche thing. And it's so great that he literally ends up programmed at the end. I was just it sounds so good on paper, and they did it so well executed in this movie. That's perfect. Like, tell someone that story, and I think they'll sign up for it. It just sucks you in.
When he was doing that presentation in the beginning, like the mom and the kid get up and walk out, you know, and my first thought was, who brings a kid to a cult presentation anyway? I mean, they're like, the kid just wants to go to the pool at the hotel, and she's got him sitting in this thing, you know. Of course they're gonna get up and leave, like.
And then he looks back at him kind of forebodingly. It's kind of weird.
I know.
It's like,
Yeah.
He's like, all right,
He's
so
like,
they
"Help
leave," and
me.
he's like looking. Help me. Maybe his mom is part of that cult stuff, you know? I don't know. Yeah, I wonder if there's anything more to that. But I do love, too, when they, she gets the tape and plays it on the TV
Yeah,
at
I
night, and it's
love
almost
that.
subliminal. He's watching the interview that he's talking about Jennifer and he's like, you pushed her into that interview, and he's like, I thought she was ready. Like, in the end, how much responsibility can I take for this? I deprogrammed her from the cult. She decided she didn't want to live on, after that. And that's her own decision. And he's had to come to terms with that. That would be super hard.
And how close was that TV to him, too? Did you guys notice, like, how they did that scene? Like, it's literally, like, 6 inches from his face.
Yeah,
it's not
reminded
like
me of Get Out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't...
Very much, yeah.
Should have put the cotton in his ears, man. Cotton in the ears, it'll save you.
Or then he catches a glimpse of Mary getting on with her freaking father, and it's like, oh, it's just a dream. But you're like, oh man, that's a pretty messed up dream, dude.
But it wasn't a
and I
dream.
love what you guys mentioned about, like, is he the father just overbearing? Is he abusive? Like, all these questions are running through your head, but like nothing seems off until you finally see them together, right? Because at the diner, I never got the sense that these parents were weird. Like, they were like, we just want our daughter back. We love her so much. And when he's there with his daughter, he's like, put these clothes on, and he's like, it changes drastically.
See,
and I'm
but
like, what is going on?
Even then, like, a lot of parents can be that way. It's like, it's kind of just
true.
it's the
Talk
like
about
the
your
honeymoon
child to other
effect.
people.
You're like, oh, it's for me, it's kind of like the same thing. I feel like a lot of parents are like, oh, I can't wait for my kids to come home from college, or I can't wait from this like that. And then as soon as they come home, they're like, I effing hate them. They don't do anything. All they do is mooch off me.
But
reality
it
sets
kind of
in.
it kind of reminded me of the whole. Have you guys ever like looked into the stuff about like Charles Manson and his group and like how they all like loved him? Like it wasn't just like he was their leader and their spiritual guide and whatnot, but like they loved him. And you kind of get that sense toward the end with the dad. Like there was, like he looked at her like, like he like loved her. Like it wasn't just like daughter love. It was like, and that's why he was like, I know what you guys are doing in there. He was jealous. He was all of those things,
Yep. I thought that was really interesting.
Well, because she picks people that are broken and dependent or codependent, and people that are seeking somebody that they can completely rely on.
Which that is a good casting choice, because when you think of the lady, I always just think of her as the teacher in Donnie Darko. Evelyn and the dad character, so Chris Ellis and Beth Grant, that was good casting choice, because in the end they might not even be husband and wife. These are just two loners that she's found that are just outcasts of society, that that she's easily beguiled them into joining their cult, for her own end. And in the end, takes the pill to go to Valhalla or whatever, to cyanide themselves on the hospital or the motel beds. Like, it's crazy. Like, she is done using them and throws them away.
Well,
like,
and she can kind of use them as the fall people, because those dead bodies, it's like, there's the culprits right there.
Yeah, they're going to be the ones to be looked into, for all the stuff that happened with this place. It's like, it can all be chalked up to these two crazy people, because I'm sure they'll find their IDs and be like, who the heck are these two people? Like, where did they come from? How did they come to be? Why are there dead people? I mean, maybe they hit them successfully. They said they were taken care of. I'm assuming that just means they were killed. It doesn't mean that they
it's interesting you mentioned the Manson family, because they went around killing lots of different people too. Like
That's right.
They went.
That's right.
Oh, crazy.
For sure. I actually watched a crazy Netflix original documentary. It was called Wild Wild Country. It was like Bhagwan, and he like tried to form this whole cult out in, I don't remember where it was, like Oklahoma or somewhere. It was some Midwestern town or something like that. Or maybe it was out west, I don't remember. But they tried to form this cult, and like there was all these weird shady things going down. They were poisoning, the local salad bars to get people sick so they couldn't go out and vote on legislation that would like inhibit their expansion. Like it was so crazy. If you want to watch a crazy real life cult that happened to the US, watch Wild Wild Country. It's a grind to get through. It's like watching The Staircase. It's like hard to watch at times, but it's crazy stuff. Like cults are real. Like there are people, like I'm like, are people that stupid and desperate to join and to feel validation that they join these crazy things? And they do exist. And like you said, Bryce, they adore their leaders. Like they love that validation they get from them. It's so crazy. It actually works. Like somehow the validation
isn't there
they
studies
get.
or something that like more people would prefer being followers than leaders? Which is interesting that our church teaches to be a leader. I just think that's so fascinating. I don't know. Interesting.
I think that, there are plenty of people. I mean, just look even like COVID is an example. Like some people are like falling right into place. Like just 2 years ago, the government was like a terrible body of like the patriarchy and white systemic oppression. And now it's like there are saviors to the disease that's going on, right? Like it just flip flops. Like whatever you need it to be. Like right now we're scared of COVID. Yes, government, take control of my life. Tell me what I need to do. Tell me where I need to go. tell me when it's safe again. You know, like it is true, Jordan. Like there are like people like programmed to be sheep, and then there are people like Mary Elizabeth Winstead that takes matters into her own hands, and she's like, I'm the boss of this organization, and you do what I say, because I am Ira. I am God of this world. Like, it's so good. She's great. Unquestionable best Mary Winstead performance to date. I don't know. Is there another movie
Sky
she's
High
great?
might be better.
Sky High. Cameron, stop it with that stuff.
I watched
let's
that
get into
movie
quotes.
so many times.
I wanted to get into quotes. I really like the one where he's like, "You're a murderer. Who are you?" And he's like, "You and the people that pretended to care about my sister are mine." Like graphic language, dude. Love it.
Ty's the only one that can
say.
say the lines and still have this hysterical laugh afterwards. I love it.
I don't know. Like, well, and again, I'm still so intrigued. Like, I'm like, what does he mean by that? Right? It's all shrouded in mystery because you're like, what is he talking about? At this point, you don't know.
Great show, don't tell in this movie.
Yes. Yep. Loved it.
No, Bryce, we're just
I love
banking
his
on that we
freakouts.
don't get enough followers because the second we do, we're getting canceled immediately.
Yes. I've already said enough offensive things to cancel this podcast 8 times over. So I loved his freakouts. There's one where he's in his car. I'm like, best freakout since like Just Friends. Ryan Reynolds freaking out in his car after his failed date with Amy Smart.
Nah, dude. It gave me mad Nightcrawler vibes. So he came to me in the mirror.
Yeah. And then when he's sitting on the toilet in the bathroom, he's freaking out, flailing his hands around. You're just like, he is just so done. And he's like, Terry's demanding the rest of the money. He has to go back to the family and get the rest of the money, even though he's not even done deprogramming their daughter. It's just so stressful. Like, they're on a time crunch. Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character is like getting the best of him. It's just so stressful. This movie gives me actual anxiety watching. I feel for him. I don't want him to succumb to the cult, and he does. So great movie overall. Did give me mad 10 Cloverfield Lane vibes.
Yeah.
Just, Mary Claire's character being abducted. I like that. The very abduction from the very beginning. Oh, just one last thing. Just the frantic kidnapping at the very beginning where he like slams on the brakes and the guy goes flying forward into the passenger seat, and then they get out. Mary kicks him in the face, and they kidnap him like broad daylight at a grocery store parking lot. People are standing in the doorway watching it all unfold. No one reacts. No one says anything. It's insane.
Yeah, I love a
it's
messy
crazy.
kidnapping, like in Fargo, when it's just
Yes.
like they can't seem to get the girl. It's so great.
Yes, or the botched money drop from what's that movie? The bowling one, Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski, yeah.
Right? Yeah. We did everything you said. We, the royal we.
Yeah, the royal we. The dude.
Oh my gosh, dude, the dude abides, man. So love it.
I love how there's a couple parts that they kind of utilize the like when he puts his shirt on after her and it's perfumed, like it's the idea. He's like what do you have of course you don't have perfume. How would you? All of a sudden it smells good. And so she's and then later on that same night she's like, oh, I made room for you in the bed, and she scooted over, and it was like, at that point, she's just like completely messing with him, and she's dealing with the sense and knowing that he's a, single guy alone, and like she's just really, really working on him. I just thought little things like that were so cool that they threw in to kind of show how she was starting to take over.
Has there ever been a more uncomfortable sleeper? He looked like he just like smoked crack every single time he would like woke up. He was just like, his eyes just bloodshot, like so uncomfortable. Especially when he's like not wearing, or when he's wearing like he's not wearing his underwear or
Just
whatever.
in his
What the
tiny
Not wearing
whities.
pants.
Yeah.
Sorry, Whitey's.
Pass me my pants.
I love it too. There's a line where he's like, from the cult. He's like, are there children in the cult? It's like, children? Parasites. We don't have time for them to grow autonomous. I'm like, amen. Sign me up. Where do I sign, bud? Seriously. Oh, kids, man. They're the best. Just become a parent and you'll know. So I love that. The nosebleed was also a really good motif where they did it twice, where his nose was always bleeding and he didn't know why. And then at the very end, her nose is bleeding. And it's like they finally like synchronized, I'm guessing, right? Because at that moment he's under
Their
her
period
control.
sync tie? What's going on?
What? I wasn't saying that. I'm just saying, like, okay, so every time I hear telekinesis in movies, you have like 11 from Stranger Things, her nose always bleeds. I just thought, like, his nose would bleed.
Firestarter, her nose would bleed when she.
Yeah, exactly. Anytime someone uses telekinetic powers or whatever, so his nose is bleeding, but then hers is bleeding, and he looks at her because he doesn't know why his is bleeding, right?
And they can only connect because their nose are bleeding. Then it's the lobster.
No, I'm just saying it was a motif that was intentionally
Can
put
we
in the
also
movie
address
that was
the fact
like
that that's got to be the
signifying.
biggest turnoff ever? But he was unfazed with the fact that he was just getting blood in his mouth, and I was like, "Oh, you got AIDS now."
And then she like had him lick her, like he's just like lick me, like at that point he was her man. I'm sorry, like I mean that's what happened. Like she got her to be subjected to do whatever she wanted.
He was holding onto her pockets, her outturned
Yes.
pockets.
Yes.
Look,
Yeah.
when
Love it.
there's like there was, I would do whatever she told me to do too. She's like okay, I don't care if you're bleeding. I don't like you hook, line, and sinker. I'm in.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. I love it too. After he lost all respect for himself, she asked him how he felt, and he felt clear.
Cameron, is that just from
and
Prison
free.
Break, or does it actually happen in prison where they like outturn the pockets and you hold them?
I don't know. I've seen that in a lot of different prison movies, so I don't know. Because I'm pretty sure in Shawshank, he does it as well.
Oh, made him his beef, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all the gay guys are holding each other's or like holding a certain guy's like pocket.
When I was on the inside, I always had my pockets out too. So I mean, it's just one of the things you do,
That's right. Turn your pockets inside out. I would say, lastly, I love the visual of him beating Terry to death with his book.
But that was sad.
His failed book. Oh no, it's so
No, but he's
tragic.
saying
Signed
the
book.
symbolism.
The signed book.
Yeah, the
The
symbolism.
signed book, and it was the yeah.
I read the book. The
ultimate
first time I read it, I actually thought it said like he had written like thanks. For helping me get out of a similar situation. So I thought he, at one point, was already part of a cult, and this was because earlier, Bryce, you said he was perhaps being reprogrammed.
Reprogrammed, yeah.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh, maybe this is the second time, like maybe this happened in his past. Like that's why he knows so much about it. Like, but I reread the page and it doesn't say that, so I just misread it.
Oh, Jordan's creating a better movie already.
No.
Yeah. Oh, he was once programmed, and then he got deprogrammed, and now he helps someone else, and then Jennifer botched hers, and now he's on to the last.
Maybe he
Very
created the
interesting.
cult that she's the leader of now. Oh, they came back
Well,
for
and in
him.
the end, this reminds me of The Art of Self-Defense, because in the end, it's like a bittersweet ending, because in the end, you're like, this guy doesn't have anything going for him. But now he's got at least a hot cult
What's
like
sweet about it?
a cult leader like girlfriend, like
I guess ignorance
it's crazy.
is bliss.
But one day she's gonna have him take cyanide when he's no longer of use to her. Yeah,
I loved every time he would
Sleeping with
say
a Black
what was
Widow,
wrong
dude.
with him, and she's like, "Those are just things." Like I love that, like because things don't hold like an emotional weight. Like what?
Yeah, I owe him money. You don't owe anyone anything. He took advantage
your
of you.
God?
Yeah, is he your God? That was a crazy question too, because again, she's like, "I'm your God now." It's terrifying, dude. I'm just saying, sleep with one eye open, dude. Oh my gosh. And then you'll find a TV playing next to you.
One thing I really liked about it, that just if you think about the name of the movie, like you can take it so many different ways, like and they're comparing it to like a geological fault. But like there's the actual faults, like the imperfections in people that they play on. But then also when you think of like an actual fault line, like when it busts and it finally goes, and they're talking about San Andreas going at any point in time. And if you want to see what it'll be like, Rock did an amazing documentary on it.
I love that.
There's not a helicopter on Earth that can lift that guy's 8-ton butt off the earth, dude. I'm telling you.
It was 100% factual of what will happen when the San Andreas fault goes. But the idea that there's so much tension,
future documentary.
right? There's
Got a freaking kaiju. That's all I can think
there's
of.
just so much tension with these fault lines that when they go, the change is sudden, it's drastic, and it's devastating. And I like that they played on that fact within the movie too, with him, and all that. So it was, like I said, I thought it was great all around.
He's a raging tornado, right? And at the very end, he unleashes all that rage and murders someone with a book. I mean, like, making John Wick proud, which, again, John Wick kills an assassin with a book in the library in the third movie. Just saying, it all comes together, dude.
brother.
It's all
And that
part of the
assassin is
same.
an NBA player.
Hey, Ty,
Yes,
what do we
Is that right?
what do we think? This is a
I didn't know that.
best cult movie, better than Midsummer. Somar.
I highly recommend this movie way more than Midsummer.
Yeah.
This is a better cult movie than Midsummer, for sure.
I
but
watched,
Midsummer's good.
I watched Midsummer on a plane, and I felt bad for everybody around me when it got to that one awkward scene. And I'm like, I thought the plane would edit it out, and I'm like watching it. I'm like, dude, everyone around me thinks I'm watching some kind of on this flight.
Yeah.
It was crazy, but I did not like that movie, so I will take this one way over Midsummer.
For
anytime.
sure. Oh yeah, for sure. Midsummer is such a weird
What
movie.
about Hot
Thanks,
Fuzz,
Jordan, for
Ty?
making us
Better cult movie? The Great Are Good.
Oh, Hot Fuzz is better than
Ooh,
this. You're
the
kidding.
great are good. Oh, that's interesting. Have you seen Hot Fuzz, Bryce?
No, I haven't.
Ooh,
Same
it's
director
a
of
good movie.
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Yeah, it's Edgar Wright who did Scott Pilgrim. He did Shaun of the Dead. Those
Baby
kind
Driver.
Of movies, so.
Forgetting the best
Baby
one.
Driver. So yeah. Oh, he's coming out with a new movie, Midnight in Soho. So I'm excited about that.
No, you're.
So, let's see. Oh, so Bryce has already shared, and Bryce, we want to respect your time. So if you'd like to share with us your social media presence on this episode as well, where can people find you on social medias or check you out?
SoundCloud, baby.
SoundCloud.
Does-
Yep. I don't do. I mean, I have an Instagram page, but I don't really do much on that. But yeah, just my SoundCloud page. Like I said, I got album coming out. Hopefully, the end of this year, maybe beginning of next year. It's actually called Me, Myself, and a Few Other People. I self-produced it. I wrote everything, but I do have a lot of guests that I've played music with over the last 20 years that are either, playing lead on certain songs or bass or, doing extra vocals here or there. So I'm really excited. It's been a passion project of mine and I'm eager to get it out. But I have a lot of the tracks on my SoundCloud. There's a few that are only going to be on the album, but, you guys can check that out and let me know if you think it sucks or not.
Oh yeah, where can they find it again? It's Bryce B-R-Y-C-E.
B-R-Y-C-E. Just search it and then I'll on SoundCloud. But I'll send you guys a link and all that.
Perfect.
But thanks for letting me share that. That's cool.
Yeah, for sure. And we love having you on, Bryce. You fit right in all too well with us, that's for sure. This has been so much fun. And
maybe if the director likes your metal music, he'll use it in his next movie. Yeah.
Dude, I'd be down.
We had one of the directors like one of our tweets, so you never know.
Hey, that'd be awesome. Yes, I am for hire.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it is metal, or I get, what is your, what do you call it? Your
Genre.
What am I? Yeah, your type of music genre. I'm an idiot. What is your music?
Yeah, I'd say it's metal. I mean, it's not the metal that's in the art of self-defense. That's a little more like death metal or black metal is what it's called now. But I mean, there's some screaming, there's some heavy guitars, but there's some melodic stuff. So I mean, kind of think, Breaking Benjamin, Seven Dust, Metallica, Godsmack, that kind of vein.
Right on. Rock on. So, we want to respect your time. If you have to bounce now, Bryce, that's totally fine.
Is that a fat
We're all
joke?
just going you want to bounce out? You want to roll on out of here?
Yeah. You want to step on a scale on your way out of here? No, I'm good, man. I left the night open, so
Sweet.
I
So we're just going to
we
end.
could undress and do a cool down.
Cool down massage.
Yeah, everybody, we're going to do a cool down.
I'm sorry, Ty's hands.
You
are
have to be
very
paired with
feminine.
Cameron. Yeah. It's womanly hands. Oh my gosh, I love it. So, well, Cameron, what have you seen lately, and what are you looking forward to watching?
So I watched, obviously, Art of Self-Defense, Fault. I also watched Aloha, which has been on my watch list forever.
Why? Why has it been in your watch list? Did you just love Bradley Cooper and Emma
That's
Stone so much?
Rachel McAdams, you kidding me? Come on.
Oh, it's Rachel McAdams. Oh, but is it Emma Stone though? I thought,
Emma
right?
Stone as
Or is it
well.
Jennifer Lawrence?
It's Emma Stone. It's a freaking ridiculous cast. Are you ready for this cast? I don't think you're ready for this cast.
But the movie's terrible, isn't it?
No, it's actually really good. I just really enjoyed it. It's got Bradley Cooper, Rachel McAdams, Alec Baldwin, Emma Stone, Bill Murray, John Krasinski, and Danny McBride.
You don't need to convince me of the cast. I'm just saying some of these big cast movies are just
I
just
personally
nonsense.
really enjoyed it, and I thought the message was really beautiful. I gave
The
it a 9
message
out
of
of 10.
aloha.
A message that Rachel McAdams is your wife.
Yeah, well, she is my
Karen
wife.
stalks her creepishly. Yeah, it's unhealthy.
She's amazing. But it's
I never met her, but I know she's a good person.
okay. Well, her husband is a complete bum. He is a thumb. He looks like a thumb. I'm just saying, Rachel McAdams, I would be a better option.
He is the
And then I also watched The Beast of War and Quick Change. I watched with Jordan on Sunday, which
Dude, if Bill Murray directed
Quick
it.
Change.
it was
We'll
pretty
have to
fun.
do it.
Quick change.
Yeah, Andy acted in it. Yeah, it's
heard of
great.
it.
And I love it because Jordan's like, oh yeah, it's and Mom's like, oh, I've never heard of this. I'm like, probably because it's fetching R. I wanted to say that so bad, but I didn't want to throw Jordan under the bus. And so I was like, yeah. And then Jordan's like, it's got like, and he was telling us before, he's like, yeah, it's got like, he told the grade, he's like, it's got like 2 or 3 F words.
No, I
Had
said
at least-
6. I said 6, and there were 6.
Had at least 9, dude. At least. And
This
Jordan-
matters when we're watching movies with our mother. See, I know this doesn't mean anything to Bryce. We're watching movies like Art of Self-Defense and Faults, but yeah. When we
as soon
convince
as-
our mother to watch these movies, Jordan's always making Mom watch the most depraved stuff that Jordan has.
Yeah.
to
She
say.
loves
It's like,
Fargo,
it's
though, dude.
really
I watched
good.
Fargo with her, and she loved it.
Yes.
Okay.
I know, because it's quirky, the Minnesota
Yes, Jordan,
behaviors.
yes. And then you're like,
Francis
oh yeah,
McDormand
Mom,
is
we
so
should watch
charming.
Fetching
Yes.
Brawl and Cellblock 99 on Sunday, you fetching psychopath. Yeah, see a guy's face get dragged across concrete. Nah,
You
no
just-
thanks. Don't watch that stuff with Mom, you weirdo.
You just don't.
But,
tell
yeah,
her to-
anyway,
I skipped
so-
over those scenes.
You're
and she's
turning Mom
fine.
hard, man.
and then
She's
I
gonna
also
be
watched-
grizzled, man.
And then I also watched the last 2 episodes of Rick and Morty of the season, of the season, and they were
I thought it was a great
awesome.
wrap up.
Super sad, but and very emotional, but very, very good, very well done.
It felt like Blade Runner, that ending. I was like, this is great.
It kind of is, yeah. And then I also been watching a little bit of South Park for our episode Thursday, but that's why the word has been on my mind all day because I've been watching the one about the motorcyclist. He's like, anyone who rides a Harley. He's like, you're referring to no. He's just super inconsiderate motorcycle riders.
This whole
Yeah,
episode is going to be bleeped.
Yeah, I know.
Podcast, I mean.
No, but very, very interesting. That'll be an interesting discussion too, because I've watched a lot of the season. I was like, I didn't know South Park did it. They had a whole episode where they're like, hey, just because we use this word doesn't mean what you think it means. Like, we use it for people that are acting. They also say, and again, it's like, oh, that's another word that you can't say now. And it's like, it's so funny. Like, I'm very interested to see how they hold up with their newest season coming out. So,
And then I'm really looking forward to, well, not really, but I'm looking forward to watching the new Venom. I'm probably going to watch it on $5 Tuesday because it comes out this Thursday.
Carnage.
So, going in with low
Harrelson.
expectations, but who knows?
Did you like Venom, Jordan? You didn't like Venom?
I couldn't get through it.
I had a blast. It was so unintentionally funny.
It was a solid
yeah.
6 or 7. Like if you go in,
Maybe I need to finish it.
Yeah.
It was the most unintentionally funny movie after Grizzly Man documentary.
Oh my gosh, you're a
it was-
terrible human being. Fetching documentary of a human being dying, and you think that is funny.
Getting mauled by grizzly bears.
And then-
Who could have predicted that?
And then you're sick. And then I'm also really looking forward to Dune and obviously
Yes.
Batman and all of and freaking James Bond, which if I see another commercial, I might kill myself. I'm like just fetching.
I don't know,
already.
Cameron. Have you heard? They're wokeifying it. It's going to be the most woke James Bond movie we've had to date.
As long as it's woke with Anna de Armas, she can be as woke as it wants. Holy fudge, that girl's beautiful. As long as she gets to be woman in power, she can be in power as much as she wants. I don't give a fudge.
Oh, I think they're making a woman James Bond after this, right?
They always kind of make
Good
those
for them.
hints of like with the freaking black girl, or like, oh, she's better than James Bond. And I'm like, yeah, sure.
I'm just waiting for Daniel Craig to be canceled, though, because I love what he said. He's like, no, they shouldn't have a woman play James Bond. They should have other roles made for women that are like James Bond. And I know what he was trying to say, like, we need more women lead roles. It's like, dude, like, there are movies like Faults and movies like a Kill Bill. Like, they already exist. I just love it that, like, people think we exist in a vacuum. Like, we don't have any strong female leads. It's like, what are you talking about? They're everywhere.
Pretty much everything that's come out in the last 10 years is nothing but strong female leads.
yeah, oh my gosh, Captain Marvel and Wonder Woman 1984 are both dumpster fires.
Now, I love Captain Marvel, so I might have to take you up on that one because that's
Is that
probably
right?
that's probably
Yeah.
one of my favorite Marvels.
No.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
I actually haven't seen it because after Black Panther, when I experienced superhero fatigue,
I'm
nothing to
sensing
do
a
with the fact
trend.
that-
Ty hated the black one and then the female lead. Some might
I
call
didn't
you a
see
bigot.
Marvel. No, I didn't see Marvel. It wasn't because Brie Larson is absolutely as charming as a fuddy-duddy. I mean, she's probably a great person. Except not. When I see in interviews, I'm like, wow.
I don't care. She's fine as like that's
Sign me up.
That
I'll
is
watch it.
that's one of my there. I told my wife if
Brie Larson.
if that's gonna be the I can tell you right now.
Brie Larson. Interesting. I don't know, dude. Have you seen her in interviews, Bryce? I would just say, look at her interviews. She's very different than she is on screen.
Oh, I don't care.
Very,
I don't,
very
I,
different
I ain't gonna.
Cameron, anything else? You've seen so many movies, Cameron. I expect you to see all these movies because I've seen like 2. So,
Yeah.
anything else?
No, I've just been cranking movies. That's what happens when you're single.
Wonderful. Jordan, how about you? Movies that you've seen lately?
I've just been watching a
looking
lot
forward
of
to?
Last Man on Earth. I haven't finished it.
With your wife?
Yeah, I'm rewatching it with my wife, but I'm finally caught up to where I left off. So it'll be nice to finally finish the series, see how it ends.
Brilliant.
Really funny. Will
So,
Forte.
Will Forte did, yeah, he's great. So after we watched Babadook, that was the last episode, we did, I watched a documentary called The Deadites. It's like a documentary about all the people that are obsessed
Dude,
with,
what a bunch of-
with
So
Sam
funny.
Raimi's, Sam Raimi's, the Evil Dead trilogy and Army of the Dead. And it was really funny because I was like, yeah, there are people out there that are like obsessed about this movie.
Like, I was
and
the first person ever to watch the movie in the theater. I'm like, hipster much? It's just great.
Yeah, I love it, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. Like they have not moved on. Like they very much live in that.
It's a great
world.
freaking movie, though, so...
It is. It's a great trilogy. So, it was fun to watch that.
I went to a premiere of some indie film, and my landlord, or not my landlord, my real estate agent was like, "Hey, I got tickets to this. It's some indie movie. The director's gonna be there," and it was this premiere. By far the worst movie I'd ever seen in my life. Like it was horrendous, and there were people that had flown in. I guess it was a sequel. I don't even know how they managed that, but like there were people fanatic about that movie, and I was like, what? I mean, they were crying. Like, I'm so happy to be here, and like it was. I mean, I don't even remember the name of the movie. It was that bad. It was something about some sister had died, and she was joining a band to go to try to move to Nashville to let her, hear her sister. Anyway, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because you just talked about people being fanatic about Sam Raimi. Like, I totally get it. Like, that's actually a major production and, like those type of things. Okay, that makes sense when you have this indie movie that costs all about $20 to make, and there's people flying in and crying to be in that theater. It's insane.
Speaking of indie films, I forgot I also watched what's it called? I watched Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. Gosh, that movie's such a fucking masterpiece. I watched it again and I'm like, yep, that's definitely top 100 for me. I think it's just so beautiful.
Interesting.
It's a hidden movie gem for sure.
Oh.
And then I also watched a little bit of Fault in Our Stars just because my roommates was watching it with his girlfriend. And it was the second time. It's really good. I think.
Oh,
it's
I thought you were
really
going to say
enjoyable
because you
rom-com.
thought it was the Faults movie.
No.
That was the joke Bryce let off the podcast last time. Art of Self-Defense. Oh, I watched The Art of War and Fault in Our Stars, right? Did I have that right? I watched a weird movie by Noah Baumbach. I watched The Squid and the Whale, and but I say weird. It's just like this is the most effed up family, dude. Like I'm sorry, Noah Baumbach, dude. What is his deal? Jeff Daniels and the wife from Ozark. I can't remember her name. I'll find it. Laura Linney. She is incredible, and so is Jeff Daniels. Their performance is great, but and Jesse Eisenberg is one of the boys, which is also funny. Like he's in this.
Do you recommend it? Because I was interested because I loved the one on Netflix. What was that called?
Recommend it. It's punishing. I really like Marriage Story better.
Wait.
So having seen both,
Oh, is Marriage
I've
Story
seen
your
both.
favorite? What about the one on Netflix? What's the other one he did?
I think we should. Thinking of ending things.
No.
Or wait, no. Who is that? Oh, that's
The
Kaufman.
Brothers
I'm sorry.
one. It's got Ben Stiller.
The Meyerowitz stories.
Meyerowitz.
That's a good point. I like Meyerowitz stories.
Yeah.
Then I like Marriage Story.
Marriage
then I
Story
like
is
Squid
super
and the
sad,
Whale.
but amazing performance by Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I couldn't
Jordan,
get through
yeah,
you
it.
need to get over this thing of Scarlett Johansson. You're like,
you don't like ScarJo? What's wrong with you?
yeah, he hated her in JoJo.
Besides the fact that she can't
Oh,
act.
Yes, thank you. Hallelujah. Thank you, Bryce.
Wait, are you referring to her Russian accent in Black Widow?
I'm referring to anything I've ever seen her.
Yes.
Have you seen her in
She's so good to look at, but like
That's
outside
it.
of that,
Yep. That's why I liked her in
That's
high school, because all I
hilarious.
cared about was looks. But now that I actually care about acting, I'm like, oh man, she's garbage.
have you guys seen that? What's that one where she's an alien or whatever?
Dude.
Ghost in a Shell?
No. Well, that was equally as bad. No,
Are you thinking of the one that was a knockoff of Unlimited, where she's like full power? What's that one called? She can like transform her looks and stuff. What was that one? It was like
I do want to
basically
see
Limitless.
that. Yeah,
but,
that was. I mean, I started
with Morgan
that.
Freeman, and it's her, and they're cat and mouse chasing her.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that.
Oh.
She's like an alien and wearing human skin. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I've heard that
I
one's
think it's
good.
called under my
Under the
skin
s-
or under
yeah,
the
under
skin
the
or
skin
something
or
like
something.
that. Yeah.
Bryce is like the best performance where she plays an alien.
Oh no, it wasn't the best performance either. You're talking about
Oh, really? I haven't even seen it.
snooze fest, man.
Oh, is it? Yeah, it seemed. I got partway through it and I was like, I don't understand what's going on.
I think I could take it or leave it. It's funny that you guys mentioned this because I hated Black Widow. I love Jordan, like you mentioned. The Island is what you're
In high
referring
school,
to, right?
but I watched
in
it
high
again.
school,
And I'm
right?
like,
Yeah.
man, this is trash.
Does
You're
not
acting
hold-
like I'm
it's
saying
funny because
what's called the Islands of Masterpiece. Fetching monkey, dude.
I know Cameron's referring
I'm talking
to
about
Jojo
her
Rabbit,
acting.
where
I'm
she
not
did a
talking
good
about-
job. Yeah,
Okay, she's great.
Jojo Rabbit, I
she's
think she did
great
a good
in
job,
her,
yeah.
and you even admitted that she's great in her. But then you're like, as soon as I
Dude,
found out it was
and-
her, I hated it. 'Cause you're such a
And
dude.
Her voice was
think-
good.
I think Jojo Rabbit was good in spite of her. I don't think it was good because of her.
Yeah, thank you.
Interesting. Yeah, like I said, I'm very interested to unpeel. Are we all just
the
gonna?
best moment was
let's all
when she
agree
got
to hate on
hung in
ScarJo.
Jojo
Yeah,
Rabbit.
when you see her foot hanging,
Oh
I was like,
my
oh, that's
God.
Yeah.
brilliant acting.
Sick.
Brilliant.
Yes,
Like-
best moment.
Look at that
I thought
footwork.
she was- I
Look
thought
at
she
that
was-
footwork.
I thought she was good in We Bought a Zoo as well.
That
I
movie,
forgot she
dude.
was in there.
I was
I'm
ashamed
a
I bought a
sucker for that
ticket. That's all I gotta say.
we bought a ticket, and I'd like a refund. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I watched The Squid and the Whale, Jordan. To answer your question, like I said, I would highly recommend watching the Meyerowitz stories,
Yeah.
which is incredible, and then
The Marriage
watching
Story.
the Marriage Story.
And if you
then
still
Squid
like
and the Whale,
those.
because if you love that universe, like really intellectual people that like can say really brutally honest things and kind of punishing. The movie's kind of punishing in a way. Because, I mean, he fundamentally loves separation. I mean, Noah Baumbach must have been through a divorce. I mean, and probably many divorces, because, like, that's all he directs. Like, all three of the movies have to do with divorce. Meyerowitz Stories isn't fundamentally
Well, and
about
family
divorce, but
dynamic.
It's about father and failed, failed relationships, yeah.
It's just
How do you
fun
spell
family
that?
dynamic.
Meyerowitz?
A Meyerowitz story. It's got
Yeah,
Ben
we'll do
Stiller.
that one on the pod. It's so good.
It's really good. Dustin Hoffman, Ben Stiller. Oh, Adam Sandler
Yeah.
and Ben Stiller. It's a great movie. Definitely recommend Meyerowitz Stories. So that's a good one to put on your list. Movies that I'm looking forward to seeing. I don't really watch trailers anymore because they spoil everything. But yeah, I did find out about Matrix 4. Excited for that, obviously. But I have my fears in the back of my mind. I'm worried it's not going to be all that it's cracked up to be. I hope it is. And then I'm looking forward to seeing the Dune, because that's, October? It's coming
End
out.
of this month, yeah.
Denis Villeneuve, the end of this month. I'm going to go see it for my birthday. It's going to be my birthday gift to me.
And Last Night in Soho
Oh,
And
yeah, I
Last Night in
forgot
Soho.
that's fetching coming out.
comes out the end of this month.
Yeah, dude.
Edgar
Yes.
Wright.
Yes, coming out with another movie. And then I'm looking forward to watching more South Park. So, in anticipation for our next episode that we do with Jared.
South Park is interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting show because I'm watching it late in the game. I've seen some episodes back in high school.
And I've recommended a few here and there.
A few here and there, and then like now I'm like religiously watching it and eating it up, and I'm like, wow, like it's crazy to know that this has always been there. You know, it's kind of like one of those weird things where you discover something late to the game, and you're like, I can imagine that this existed in the zeitgeist, but like I never knew about it. So very interesting, and there's a lot of, I think, good thought-provoking things for such a funny and comedy. For such like a childish show, like it's still very interesting because there are questions that they pose and present and moral dilemmas that I'm like, they're good to talk about, I think. So anyway, good on Matt Stone and Trey Parker. I think I think if they keep it up, they're going to do all right.
tight. They just made
like on 28 seasons.
no, and they just
Or
made a
whatever.
deal with HBO for what was it? Was it $500 million, $2 billion?
Is that right? To have South Park on their streaming service? Holy cow. Dude, HBO, man. They're gonna rule the world, man. They're gonna take out Netflix, like quality programming. They don't want any of the shows on Netflix. Netflix is garbage, dude. It's just a bunch of dumb dumb movies straight to streaming, you know. Anyway. So there's really nothing else I'm looking forward to. Jordan, do you have anything that you're looking forward to seeing?
You mentioned
Anything
it
else?
all. That, and I'm
I
excited
do.
about French Dispatch.
Oh, yeah, and Bryce, what have you seen lately, or what are you looking forward to seeing?
So a couple things real quick. I saw recently Those Who Wish Me Dead, that Angelina Jolie movie. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yeah, I thought it was about the fire. What was it? I assumed it was about putting out fires and firefighters flying helicopters and dousing fires.
Yeah, it's actually
That's a backdrop.
It's definitely the backdrop. It's more about like this. I mean, it's definitely not what I expected, but it was actually really well done. And she plays. I like Angelina Jolie, but she plays a kind of different character than she's used to, or than you're used to. And she's not like the real motherly type. She's kind of a bad. I enjoyed it. It was definitely entertaining. It's not. Don't watch it for like oh no, this is a completely different, like what's going to happen. You've seen it a million times in other movies where the bad guys are trying to find this kid because he knows stuff, and so she's kind of protecting him, and I don't want to spoil too much, but it's definitely not what you expect, and it's very entertaining, so I enjoyed that. And then also kind of another one I saw that I was really surprised at was called Werewolves Within. Have you guys
I
heard of
started that one. I haven't finished it yet.
Kind of a whodunit type comedy, and it's got the AT&T girl in it, and it's almost kind of like a Knives Out type. They're stuck in a storm, and there's a werewolf, and they're trying to figure out who's the werewolf, and they're in this mansion, and so it's a pretty entertaining show. I enjoyed it.
Bryce, one to add, that just made me think, we did a Wolf of Snow Hollow on this podcast.
That's a good one.
And it's a good, I don't want to spoil anything about it, but it's directed by Tim Cummings, who did Thunder Road. Jim Cummings, sorry.
Tim Cummings.
Jim Cummings, excuse me, who directed Thunder Road and stars in it also. He plays the detective. I would recommend that, just from what you're
He
describing.
was the director we were referring to that liked our tweet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, and he actually reached out. Yeah, he's done 2
Yeah, I
movies now,
actually
Wolf
have
Snow.
that. I have that on one of my watch lists. I haven't seen it yet.
Is it right?
But yeah,
Wolf of Snow Hollow.
yeah.
I would recommend it. It's a good movie. So anyway, I just love what you were saying about this wolf. What was it? Wolf Inside? Or what was
Wolf
it?
Within.
Werewolves
Werewolf
Within. Yeah.
Werewolf Within. Yep. Yeah, that was one I mentioned. Jordan. I sent to you.
Yeah,
right,
I bought
Jordan?
it
That was
and
the
I
one.
watched
Yeah.
part of it. I didn't like
I'll be
it, but
watching
I
that
mean,
tonight,
maybe it gets
dude. I'm
better.
excited.
The problem is I need to finish movies,
Yeah, Jordan starts. He didn't want to do Beast, Bryce, and we ended up reviewing it on the
and
pod.
I love it.
So and now
I
he
just
loves
need to
it.
finish it.
Yeah, it's not great by any it's not
Well,
like the
there were
great.
some of the
you know what I
jokes
mean?
though that
It's-
had me
there-
rolling at the beginning, and then it, I don't know. I don't know.
It definitely. I mean,
Jordan's
those that kind
Yeah,
of
Jordan's weird.
high school humor. It goes throughout. Like I said, it was enjoyable. It was a nice break from kind of the typical movies I watch. So
Right.
And then as far as what I'm looking forward to, I mean, all the ones you guys said, I am really looking forward to Maverick. They keep pushing it back, but the new Top Gun movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
I'm a huge Tom Cruise fan, so
How about Miles Teller? You like Miles Teller? He's like the new Tom Cruise.
I don't know if he's a new
That's a
Tom
bold
Cruise.
statement.
I know he's
That is
not
a
Tom
very
Cruise. I'm just
bold
saying
statement.
he's basically gonna have to be the heart of the movie, right? Unless Tom Cruise is gonna be the heart.
Yeah, no, I mean, like he's like I think Miles Teller plays Goose's son, and so like
The new
but-
Tom Cruise. Oh, blasphemy.
I'm just saying he's playing his role. He's
No.
he's
From
the
the
emotional
new
crux
Tom
of the
Tom,
movie. I'm
Tom
not saying
Cruise
he's gonna
is still
replace
playing
him.
his role. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's called Maverick. It's not called Miles Teller.
Miles Teller, starring Miles Teller.
Yeah,
It's a movie
but
about his
I
life.
am looking forward to that, and
Yeah,
you know,
brilliant. Top Gun. Big fan of Top Gun, eh?
I am. I hope they have another like Man, that volleyball scene in the original one, now you watch it back, it's pretty, but I hope they have more stuff like that. The whole,
I don't know. Is it any
the whole
any
shirtless,
than
tight
Art of
jeans.
Self-Defense? Yeah.
Well, you don't get the image that you get from Art of Self-Defense, but, you know.
Still gets close, Lots of jean shorts, lots of embraces,
Yeah.
They oil those guys down.
They do. If you watch, I mean,
Oil them down.
Ty, when we had Cancun playing volleyball, I definitely did not look like that. That's for sure.
I know, dude. We need
Who
some
plays
oil boys.
Who plays
dude.
beach volleyball in jeans anyway? I mean, come on. It's like they make it sound like, we're just gonna play beach volleyball in really tight jeans and be all oiled up with our dog tags swinging, and we got a group of people watching us play volleyball. And
so much testosterone, man. It's
Tom
beautiful.
Cruise is pretty
Just
short,
pumping.
but they have him spiking. I mean, come on.
But
I still love it.
The
That
net-
sand?
the-
Like, what's going
wasn't
on?
a
Exactly.
It was not up to regulation. That net was definitely lower.
Yeah, not a chance. That
Jumping high,
5'5".
not off sand. No.
Well, when we do Top Gun, we know who to bring on.
I hope they have.
That's
Oh,
right.
dude, for sure. I'm in. Dude, you guys bring me on whenever. I'll
Loved having you on. You like I said, it's weird to have a guest on that fits way too easily with the mode of everything. So we'll definitely have you on again, and we'll have to do. I want to do the Rock and the Goon guy. What's his name? What's the movie called?
Southland
Southland
Tales.
Southland Tales. That's
Also,
what I want
real
to do.
quick,
I'm so tepid about starting it, but I want to watch it because of all the reasons
Just
you said.
go in
about
with-
being such a
with-
polarizing movie.
go in with no expectations, and then
Yeah.
we'll see. Also, real
All
quick,
right.
have you guys done the or even seen the it's Fanatic with John Travolta? It was directed by what's it? Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Check it out. That's
John Travolta.
John Travolta. It's kind of like if you ever seen the movie The Fan with De Niro, and he kind of stalks a baseball player or a football player or whatever it is. It's kind of like that. He's a stalker for an actor, and he just it's very unique John Travolta type feel. He's like almost, I think he's like autistic or something in the film, and
Doesn't go full.
no, it doesn't go full, but it gets a lot of hate because people hate Fred Durst for some reason. I don't get it, but I think he did a really good job with the film, and so I think it'd be right up your guys' alley to at least check that out. But it's called The Fanatic.
The Fanatic. Okay, I'll look that up. Because you mentioned Robert De Niro stalking someone. Like, is it like what's it called? The comedy, the King of Comedy. Is that? Because does Robert De Niro stalk somebody else?
It's called
the Taxi Driver and
no,
the
it's
King
called
of Comedy.
The Fan. I think it's
Yeah.
called The Fan.
The Fan. And now this is Fanatic.
And this
with
is The
John Travolta.
Fanatic, and John Travolta plays the.
Is it the one where he has the gray hair and the bowl cut or not?
Yeah, it's kind of like a mullet almost.
Oh yeah, the bowl. Yeah. He's got the weird hair. Okay.
And like a
interesting.
Hawaiian shirt. He's always wearing a Hawaiian
Yes.
shirt. And
I've definitely seen that. See, there was a movie that Nick Cage did. He was fully bearded, and he's like, God came to me in a vision. It's Russell Brand and Nicolas Cage, and he's like, God told me in a vision that I need to go find Osama bin Laden and kill him. And he has got like a katana sword, and he travels to Afghanistan or Iraq. I don't know where he goes, and he tries to go on this mission to quest to find. I don't know. It's like the man who killed Don Quixote in a way, right? Like, or not the man who killed Don Quixote, but Don Quixote, basically retelling it. I don't know if it is or not. Like, don't know what to make of it. So I'm definitely interested now that you've recommended it. So
Well,
I'll
I
definitely
love
check that
all
out.
the movies you recommend. I'm like, they're cracking me up. Like you like Captain Marvel, and this movie has 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm excited.
I don't I disagree with Rotten Tomatoes way more than I agree with it. There's ones that Rotten Tomatoes put like at 100, and I'm like, this is by far the worst movie I've ever seen. And I'm like,
anything
how?
starring ScarJo, you're like, what is this? Scarlett Johansson, block of wood. They're the same thing. The image. Here's a picture of Scarlett Johansson, and here's a toilet.
The only
Which one's the toilet? They're the same picture.
it's like, speaking of tomato meter, and I know, I think Ty, you mentioned this when we were talking, off,
Yeah.
but that movie, The Host. I think the only thing that could have made that
Bong
movie,
Joon-ho.
the only thing that could have made that movie worse was if Scarlett Johansson was in it. Like, I think besides that,
Bryce is not a fan of Bong Joon-ho's The Host. He
Really?
did like Parasite. He liked Parasite.
I
He didn't
loved
like...
Parasite, but
And
the
did you like
host,
the train? I can't remember if you liked the train with Chris
Snowpiercer.
Evans.
the Snowpiercer.
Oh.
No, Snowpiercer.
Yes, loved it.
Yeah,
Loved
like
it.
that one.
The host
like Parasite, but
host just didn't hit me right.
Boo.
I love Snowpiercer.
Cameron, I love Snowpiercer. Cameron doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a child. He's a young mind. We'll revisit it
I love
on the
how
podcast.
anytime
and
it's like
teach him.
the other way around, it's like, oh, we have our own opinions. But anytime I mention anything, it's like, oh, Cameron's uncultured.
Yeah, he's an uncultured swine. So anyway, guys, this has been a great episode. Thanks again for tuning in. This has been Futro Hidden Movie Gems. Leave us an email, futromovies@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Patreon. And yeah, Bryce has pictures of his feet. Foot fetish. Hey, we don't shame here on the podcast. All right, you guys are wonderful freaks of the internet. So check us out. Leave us a 5-star review. And this is Futuro Hidden Movie Gems signing out. Peace.
Bye.
Peace.